Sometimes I'm really bad at writing, especially scripts for my own videos. That's the hardest part of this whole process for me, is writing scripts. You'll probably notice that, yeah, again, there's a distinct lack of Zelda theory videos, and that's sometimes because I come up with theories, but there's just not enough material to put into its own 10-minute video or whatever. So today, instead of trying to stretch any of those out into their own videos, why don't we take a look at those, what I'm calling micro-theories, and just put them all together into one video. Before we jump right in, I'd like to thank my pal Game Over Jesse for joining me on this video. I'm very excited to have him guest on this channel. You probably know that I am on his channel quite a lot, and that we both co-host a podcast together called the Highly Games Cast. Go check that out if you want. But otherwise, this is the first time that he's actually like properly on this channel, so I'm very excited for this this little collab today. Anyways, with that aside, let's hop right in. Here's 10 Legend of Zelda micro-theories.
So you know, in Skyward Sword, all of those times that Fi translates messages for you about the goddess Hylia, or recites lyrics to important songs. There's a strong emphasis in these messages on Link, the hero, uniting the earth and sky. There's a pretty literal meaning for this. When bringing down the Isle of the Goddess crashing into the sealed grounds, think about this. Link is on a quest to temper the goddess sword into the one and only legendary Master Sword, and when he does this, he unites earth and sky. So is it any coincidence that in The Wind Waker, in reverence for the power of the Master Sword, and in order to keep up the sword's power, sages pray at the temples of earth and wind, wind being the element closely associated with the sky? This could be a callback to the hero's journey when forging the sacred blade, and a way that these ancient sages honor the sword's origin.
Sheikah tech plays a huge part in Breath of the Wild, but the Sheikah themselves have been around for far longer than that. So we know that 10,000 years prior to the game, that they were a very advanced civilization, but did their technology exist before then? After all, they were originally servants to the goddess before they were servants to the royal family. The only reason they started serving the royal family is that the goddess Hylia was reborn as Zelda, so the royal lineage is literally divine. That said, considering how secretive the tribe is, their technology could have been around much longer than we have seen in-game. Like maybe here? Or here? Or here? Or here? Or here? Or here? Or here? These could all be Sheikah technology. You get the point. Dang, maybe I could actually make an entire theory video about this. Here's every time that Link has used the Master Sword in the Legend of Zelda series. Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time, The Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, A Link to the Past, A Link Between Worlds, and Breath of the Wild. In Ocarina of Time, when Link draws the Master Sword, he is sealed in the Sacred Realm for 7 years because he is too young to be the hero of time. The only other time Link draws the sword at such a young age is in The Wind Waker, and he isn't sealed. Why not? There's two potential reasons for this in my head. One is because Ocarina of Time Link was too young to be the hero of time, and Wind Waker Link is not the hero of time. He's the hero of wind. So it's a semantic, but it still stands. The other reason could be that the Master Sword in The Wind Waker had actually lost its power at this point, and just couldn't seal him. Wait, HMK already made a video about this already? No, really, just go ahead, go watch his video. I mean, I already came up with this bit of the script before he made the video, so I'm keeping it here, but like, go watch his video. It's good. It's a good video. In Skyward Sword, there are these trials called silent trials. They take place in a spiritual realm called the Silent Realm. When Link overcomes these challenges and grows spiritually, he is rewarded with useful items like a dragon scale. Later on, when finding the actual pieces of the Triforce, he locates them in what appears to also be the Silent Realm. But wait, the Triforce is supposed to be located in the Sacred Realm, unless they are one and the same. They could be. Think about this. The Silent Realm appears as a near identical parallel world to the physical world. The only time that the Sacred Realm is really explorable in any other game is actually in A Link to the Past, when the Sacred Realm is actually corrupted and becomes the Dark World. Oh, and guess what? The Dark World is also a near identical parallel world to Hyrule, just twisted with evil and darkness and all that. And in Ocarina of Time, the Master Sword is said to be the key to entering the Sacred Realm. How do we go about accessing the Silent Realm? By striking the Goddess Sword in certain special areas. Oh, and this cutscene in A Link Between Worlds is also the Sacred Realm as well, which is just a great callback to one of my favorite pieces of A Link to the Past artwork, which leads me to the next thingy. A handsome old sage named Rauru tells us that the Chamber of Sages, which we see a couple of times, is a room in the Temple of Light, which sits at the center of the Sacred Realm. The Dark World in A Link to the Past, being the Sacred Realm, has this big old thing in the center of it called the Pyramid of Power. This pyramid could be the Temple of Light, corrupted by the Dark World, especially if you consider that this is where the Triforce is held. When else might we see the Temple of Light? This area in A Link Between Worlds could be a portion of it, a back balcony or something like that. The area in Skyward Sword where we find the Triforce might also be a different interior area of it, especially if you consider that this is part of Skykeep, which ends up being plummeted into the Sealed Grounds, and the Sealed Temple becomes Ocarina of Time's Temple of Time, and Ocarina of Time's Temple of Time is the direct connection to the Chamber of Sages, which is also in the Temple of Light. And I feel like that meme, you know the meme? Speaking of Rauru, let's talk about sages. So in Ocarina of Time, we meet Rauru, and he tells us that he is an ancient sage, and he's the last one. Ganondorf killed all his friends, so we have to go and awaken the next generation of sages to take their place. That's all well and good. These new sages become legends. We see them in this stained glass window in the Wind Waker. All is cool. However, in the child timeline, Link goes back in time and prevents Ganondorf from entering the Sacred Realm, which means Ganondorf does not get the chance to kill the ancient sages. So in Twilight Princess, when we meet a group of sages who are old dudes, could these be the original ancient sages, including our pal Rauru? But then why do they appear as ethereal old men? Could be that they are projecting themselves from the Chamber of Sages in the Sacred Realm, which would make Ganondorf killing the Sage of Water all the more scary. This one's kinda lame, but the Sword Beam is a staple of the series. The Sword Beam is mostly prevalent in the 2D or top-down Zelda games. 3D games haven't seen it as much. In Skyward Sword, the Skyward Strike was introduced, and look at it. It's just the Sword Beam. If you look at the way the Sword Beam and the Skyward Strike appear, it's clear that this Skyward Strike is the in-game origin to the Master Sword's Sword Beam. Though thankfully in other games you don't have to hold your sword straight upwards to pull it off. You know what other sword ability requires full health? The Great Spin in Twilight Princess. The Great Spin in Twilight Princess is taught to you by the Hero's Shade, and it causes a larger area of effect than the normal spin attack. Plus it deals some extra damage, and seems to have this swirling magic with it. Did I mention earlier that the Hero's Shade is also Link from Ocarina of Time? And what does the spin attack look like in Ocarina of Time when Link fully charges it? Very similar. So it could be that the powered up spin attack in Ocarina of Time that is given to Link by a Great Fairy is actually the Great Spin attack that we see in Twilight Princess, and it is not the same as the Hurricane Spin, not even close, not at all.
So, we know that in Twilight Princess, Link becomes Wolf Link, and after the Master Sword forces the dark magic out of his body, he learns to control his wolf form by using the Shadow Crystal. Sure, that's cool. We also meet the Golden Wolf, who is actually the Hero Shade. The Hero Shade is actually Link from Ocarina of Time, who is Twilight Princess Link's ancestor, So Link in Ocarina of Time appears before his descendant as a wolf and trains him with special techniques. What a helpful grandpa to have. What if years later, the spirit of Twilight Princess Link took a page out of the hero Shade's hypothetical book and appears before a future hero in his own wolf form? I mean, that's crazy, right? Right? Unless, but no, that's crazy, right? Unless...
We meet Fi in Skyward Sword. She is the spirit who lives inside the Goddess Sword / the Master Sword. When she speaks to Link, she sometimes pops out of the sword to show her physical form. But also, sometimes the sword just glows with this blue light, and we hear this sound. Supposedly, she's been living in the blade all of this time with no communication to those who take up the sword. Or has she? Well, she does speak to Link and Zelda, both in Breath of the Wild. There's also a couple times where Link, upon drawing the sword, pauses almost as if he's listening. It also glows nicely in a similar fashion when Link pulls the sword out in A Link to the Past. That's just something worth noting there. However, there's one moment in particular where my personal headcanon is so certain that it's Fi speaking with Link, and that's in Ocarina of Time right here. Link is in the midst of the final battle against Ganon. He looks at his sword and it glows with a blue light and makes a magical sound. Now obviously, IRL, the writers hadn't conceived Fi yet, but retroactively it could be that in this moment Fi speaks to Link, maybe offering a bit of acknowledgement or encouragement in this moment. It could be that Fi was with us all along. What do you want, Fi? You're gonna tell me I'm hurt? Yeah. She is. She's like, by the way, if you get hurt too much, you could die. Thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, thank you to my pal, Game Over Jesse. Go check out his channel if you haven't already, but who am I kidding? If you watch my channel, you are probably already subscribed to him. I want to just take a moment to say thank you to my lovely supporters on Patreon. In particular, I need to say thank you to those who supported at the cheese tier or higher. That includes Tetra, AJ, and Brenda. So thank you so much to you guys for the support. Love you all, and I will catch you guys in the next video.